Welcome back to the Bluechip Breakdown, Vols fans. I'm your host, Bull. In today's video, we are going to be updating you on the transfer portal, on some recruiting news. We're also going to be talking about, what we know about who is going to be opting in or out of the bowl game versus Iowa. And we're going to start off with Jermod McCoy will be announcing his college decision today. Sounds like it's down between us and Texas A&M. And, some of y'all was asking me, what time is it going to be? Like, how can we watch it? All that type of stuff. I have not found anything, okay? So I've looked everywhere and there's no time set on it. So we'll see. It's going to keep a close eye out on Twitter and, on the internet. And, as soon as I find out something, I will come back to the channel and let y'all know what's going on. Hopefully I'll be one of the first people to be able to break that news. So he's a really good cornerback, though. He is from Oregon State, 6 feet tall, 180 pounds. Reminds me a whole lot of Ricky Gibson. It's almost like we're getting Ricky Gibson 2.0. I think that Ricky's probably going to be plugged in as a starter next season. Sounds like he's going to be starting in the bowl game too, okay? It's going to be a competition, I think, if Jermod does choose us. It's going to be a competition between him and I believe Jordan Matthews, but Christian Conyer is another really good player. I think that bringing him in not only would give Tennessee some more depth, right? It's going to give us a whole lot more versatility in that secondary. We talked about it. We want to play more man-to-man coverage, all right? We're tired of playing that sit back, bend but don't break coverage. We want to get a lot more aggressive. And I think that that's kind of like what the whole game plan is for this team in 2024. Get the defense off the field, get the offense back on the field. Let's put up a whole bunch of points. Let's make this offense look good. Let's get some young guys in more, and let's get Nico Iamaleava into that Heisman race. So I think that, Mr. McCoy joining Tennessee's roster could most definitely do that. I also think that it will free up some players to, have a little bit more versatility, as far as what positions they're going to be playing. Jordan Matthews is a guy that could potentially play star, could potentially play safety too, because he's got that length. I'm not quite sure what his weight is looking like right now, but I would, have to anticipate that he's probably gained 10 to 15 pounds. They call it the freshman, freshman 10, freshman 15. So, he should be at an adequate weight to be able to kind of move around. And, again, that's just going to help this football team out. We want to make sure that we are getting as many players on the field as possible. That's going to be a big deal moving forward in this new era of the transfer portal, where it's like, I want to be able to play right now. I want to be able to get paid right now. We've got to get these guys out on the field. And I think that adding Jermod McCoy is going to help us do that. It's not going to necessarily take away from people's playing time. I think it's going to give people more playing time. So with that being said, right, so he's choosing between us and Texas A&M. There is a player that we've talked about on this channel a lot in Trey Jones. That's the safety from Central Michigan. So Trey chose Texas A&M just yesterday. So he is now off the table. I was wondering to myself, and I kind of asked y'all too, do we think that we can continue to pursue Trey, or that we will continue to pursue Trey after we got in Kobe Thomas, who is also playing safety? I was hoping that maybe we could have got Kobe in to play some star for us, but that actually might have been pushing it just a taste, because we do have some young guys that are kind of like fringe guys, like Jordan Thomas, okay, Christian Charles, Christian Harrison. Those guys can play star, they can play safety. And I think that, now that Trey Jones won't be coming in, those guys are going to get more of an opportunity to, be able to start or get some playing time at one of those positions. And I would personally like to be able to keep all of those guys. So that is good news kind of for our Volunteers. We definitely need some guys to, step up on this roster, but I fully expect for them to. And then, moving on to Chris Brazzell, that's the wide receiver from Tulane. No real updates there, okay? The only things that I've seen is that there are some more schools that are just kind of coming out saying that they're, that they've offered him, that they're talking to him. And so he does have a whole lot of options, but I don't know when he's going to select his school. It sounds like, just from, watching VolQuest, it sounds like could be sometime maybe before Christmas. So we will see what happens with that. But again, keeping a very, very close eye out on it. As far as those tight ends go, right? Talked about Cole Harrison. That is the 6'4", 220-pound tight end from California. He's going to be selecting between us and Washington State. And he will make his selection on Wednesday, on signing day. So there's not a whole lot of news coming out there, but it does sound like Tennessee's still in the lead right there. So that is really good news. We definitely need some more tight end depth. And then the other tight end, who is Willie Rodriguez, that is committed to Kentucky. Kentucky sounds like, they don't really know what's going on. They're saying that, hey, he went on a visit to Tennessee and things kind of got quiet, so maybe it's a good thing for us. But to me, it sounds like that's going to be a good thing for Tennessee. And if we can get both of these guys, like I said before, I do think that we're going to take both because we need that depth. I think that Willie is the one that probably will be able to play earlier just because of his, frame. He's already kind of filled it out some. But I think as far as potential upside moving forward, that Cole Harrison has more of an upside, especially as a pass catcher. He's a guy that, once he gets with Coach Abe, and I've said this several times, I think that our tight end group blocks better than any tight end group in the entire country. Coach Abe did a phenomenal job with our tight ends this past season. Go back and watch those guys block, okay? It is beautiful. I love watching them work. So, any tight end that we get into the portal, any tight end that we get peered on campus is going to be a very, very good blocker. But I think that Cole Harrison, once he kind of gains that weight and, he learns how to block, he's going to be a big-time pass-catching threat. So, looking forward to that. Now, as far as the defensive line position, right? We've talked a whole lot about needing some depth at defensive tackle, and Murad Watson was the guy that we've said for, several days now. We really love his film. We need that young depth, okay? I think that this actually is a bigger deal than a lot of people are letting on or talking about. It sounds like he's kind of favoring Syracuse right now, okay? So all the experts are kind of leaning towards Syracuse. We said that it was between us and them. And, I think that whatever we have to do, I feel like we need to do it because there's no guarantee in what's going to happen in the 2025 class. It sounds like we are leading for some good tackles in that class. And, obviously we're going to come into it optimistic, hoping that we can get some of these guys, but there's just no guarantee. So while you've got someone that is strongly considering you and that has the proper skill set and everything else to come in and play, let's go ahead and seal the deal. Let's close out on this guy. So I'm hoping that, the staff is doing whatever it takes to make that final push right here before signing day, because it does sound like Mr. Watson wants to make a decision, in the early signing period. So I'm hoping that, maybe we could throw a little bit more money at him. All right. I think that is very, very important, for the future of this football team. So we'll see how all of that plays out. Again, we're going to keep a very close eye out on it. Signing day is tomorrow. So a whole lot of news is going to be coming out, between now and then, and we will keep y'all up to date on it. Now, shifting gears to what's going to happen in the Citrus Bowl, okay? What we have learned is that Gabe Jeudy-Lally is probably going to play. Also learned that Wesley Walker is not going to play. Now, I'm not sure if that's because he's hurt or if that's just because he's planning on transferring after he graduates in the spring, okay? So some of y'all have also asked about that. Wesley Walker is more than likely off of this football team. And, I hate that because I do think he was probably our best safety, this past season. But Tank will be starting. And, it sounds like Ricky Gibson will also be starting. I think that outside of that, all the rest of our starters on defense will be starting. We're going to have Jordan Thomas, who will probably be playing at the star position. We all know that T-Mac has moved on to Ole Miss. So I feel pretty confident, in what our defense is going to look like. The only position that does kind of scare me is if, Andre Turrentine is going to be the starter at safety. Not that physical of a football player, okay? We've talked about this too. I just don't like that, and Iowa is a very physical football team. They're going to run the football a lot, okay? You don't really have to worry too much about what's going to happen in pass coverage. I actually think that this is a game that Gabe Jeudy is going to flourish in because he's a cornerback that can squat and that is willing to come up and get in on tackles. He gets off blocks very well. And they don't have the best athletes on the outside that he's going to have to cover down the football field. So I think that he would look good playing man. So this is going to be a win-win for Tennessee and for Gabe Jeudy as he continues to try to increase his draft stock. But I'm very concerned about who the other safety is going to be next to Tank. And, again, I don't want to try to bash these guys or talk bad about them, but this is just us talking. I'm going to be very concerned if Andre Turrentine is the guy that is rolled out there as a starter. That probably will not be the best thing for Tennessee's defense. All right, so on the other side of the football, sounds like Cooper Mays will be starting. Spraggs is probably out. I'm pretty sure that Spraggs is out. Mincy and John Campbell are the two that we're hoping can play. Haven't heard a whole lot there just yet. Dante Thornton is out. And then at left guard, we're hoping that Andrej Karic can step in right there, but we've also got Jackson Lampley that could step in. And, you know, outside of that, sounds like everyone else will play. Now, some people do think that even though Joe Milton has been practicing, some people do think that he could potentially still opt out of this bowl game. I think that it, you know, could potentially be a good thing for him too. You know, if he doesn't play, it could kind of bode well for him because he did just come off of a great game versus Vanderbilt. And I think that a lot of the, you know, scouts are gonna, once they see him in some of these postseason all-star games, you know, like the Senior Bowl, things like that, see him at the Combine, I think that he's gonna blow their socks off, you know, with how big and strong he is, you know, just all of his skill set. He's a really good athlete. He's got a phenomenal arm. We all know that. And I think that he's going to light that stuff up. So he may kind of be better suited to sit this one out and, you know, let Nico play, right? Knowing that that is the future of this football team. And then, you know, I think that, again, it will probably kind of help him out in the draft process. But it could also benefit him to come out and, you know, put up a bunch of points versus an Iowa defense that is ranked very highly, okay, but don't necessarily have the best athletes. They've got some of their key guys, you know, some of their star guys are going to be hurt and won't be playing in this game, so maybe he can put up some good numbers. And it's just, there's just no telling what's going to happen right there. I also kind of get the feeling that Coach Heupel may have kind of asked for Joe Milton to play in this game, at least just to kind of get us started so that we can get off to a good start, and then you put Nico in. Do you really want to put Nico in first time starting in this bowl game with all that pressure on him? Everyone's going to be expecting so much. I don't think that you do. So, you know, again, man, like so many people kind of bash Joe Milton, but he has done so much for this program, man. Just sticking around, you know, as a backup, being a very good teammate, coming back and, you know, just helping Nico learn this system. And I know that he hears all the outside noise. I know that all these guys, man, like they are not deaf to social media. So I know that he's been hearing it. You have not heard him backlash at the fan base. So I really do like Joe Milton, and I'm really rooting for him. And, you know, I'm thankful for his services and what he's brought to this university. But, you know, that's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm leaning more towards Joe Milton will play in this game. And, you know, that he will not play for the entire game, but I think that he'll just kind of get us started. And then we'll see a whole lot of Nico Iamaleava. So as far as the running backs, we've already touched on that. You know, Jalen Wright's not going to be playing. Jabari Small's not going to be playing. Dylan Sampson, Cam Seldon, you know, those guys will be playing. So expecting a good bowl game. You know, we've got, I think, enough pieces and depth, especially if we can get back most of that offensive line to be able to look really good, I think, in this Citrus Bowl, and hopefully we can come out and dominate in this season on a positive note. But that's going to be it for this video, y'all. Please make sure to like, subscribe, share with your friends, family, and other volunteer fans. Please also consider joining this channel and becoming a member. Click that join button down below, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks. Peace.